Hello, everybody. Welcome again. By now, you should probably know me. Otherwise, what are you doing here? But anyway, welcome to another episode of helping B2B high ticket service provider grow one lesson at a time. And by now, as you know, every episode we actually invite the best from the best, of course. So today I have the Tim Kubiak, and he's here to tell you a very interesting lesson. I'm not telling any more about it. We'll get there. So Tim, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. It's good to talk to you again.
Well, I imagine that since you're on the other part of the world, it's quite morning for you. I was like, you'll be either in pajamas or something, kind of like, wow, at 8, 9 a.m. probably you need to talk about, lessons. Come on.
I've got coffee. We are all good.
There you go. Actually, I should have brought some coffee, but after this. So, Tim, thank you very much for coming on this episode. I was so excited when you confirmed because, yeah, we have some history behind. I also came on your podcast, what was it, 3-4 months ago, I think.
Yeah.
Wow, time flies.
Time flies.
And I know you pretty good because when I actually asked to participate on your podcast, I had to research you, man. That's the part of the due diligence. But for everybody that don't know, we should probably kick off the interview with the origin story and who you are actually, if you can present yourself.
Sure. The humorous version of who I am is I'm the only short, fat guy in yoga, and I'm an aging rock and roll metalhead. Professionally speaking, I came up through the technology business. I started a small company in the States. They got acquired early in my career. I have held global roles. I've run $750 million organizations with hundreds of employees. And, all along, everything from infrastructure of telecommunications all the way through high-end cybersecurity. And about 2 years ago, I decided I'd had enough of corporate life. So I started working with small clients and tech founders and helping them build their businesses and their sales organizations. And that's the foundation of what I do today. I work with innovators and people that are trying to bring things to market.
Nice. What pushed you to get away from the corporate world? I have some personal experience, and first, money are different, that's for sure. But for you, what was the balancing curve that said, you know what, I'm tired of this corporate bureaucracy and just switched to the SMEs?
So it really was a couple of things. First of all, it was quality of life. I could never, and it's going to be strange from an entrepreneur saying, I could never step away from the business. But the truth is in corporate life, there's so many things you can't control. And your political fortunes are one of those. So if your sponsor leaves or gets ousted or, something changes in your structure, your whole job role and everything changes. And I'd lived through several acquisitions of the companies I worked for being acquired. I did some M&A work on people who were doing the acquisition, so I know both sides of the fence. And I had worked for private equity companies, and I got tired of people who didn't understand the market making decisions solely on the bottom line. The other part of it is as you go up higher in organizations, right? And I spent my entire life wanting to be a corporate executive and working and sacrificing to
climb
do that.
The ladder.
Yeah. And what you find out is I lost touch with customers. I lost touch with products. I spent all my time in internal meetings arguing about stuff that ultimately was just, forgive the phrase, territorial pissing, right? Over this is mine, not yours, instead of actually taking care of people. And I miss touching customers. So.
Yeah, and the corporate games involved that you're like, man, can we just focus on helping people or growing stuff rather than all the games and politics and within the companies?
Yep, that's exactly right. Right. I joke now, nobody can reorg me overnight unless I do it to myself. So, I was in Poland on a vacation for 2 weeks, and I had literally closed out staff calls on a Friday. And I got to Poland on a Sunday morning, was there on a vacation, and literally by Monday afternoon, European time, I needed to get on a call about a reorg that somebody decided they had to do over the weekend. So I'm literally in Warsaw, in the bathroom.
For me, it was the decision-making process. If you want to make a change, you need to ask your boss, they need to ask their boss, and they need to ask their boss.
Yep.
And then after 6 months, they'll get it to you, and then already the environment has changed.
Yep.
But it's interesting to talk with you, Tim, because so you have the corporate background and the corporate experience, and now you're trying to apply to the small people. Okay, that's a bad saying, but to the smaller businesses could not really either they don't have the corporate experience, nor they can actually afford the consultants that are from the corporate big five consulting company that are like quite expensive, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And that is actually a unique angle that you're holding. And I'm sure that, I mean, within all these years, you have acquired a lot of expertise, like whether it's in the merging or acquisition or whether it's into the tech aspect of the companies. And I mean, if you have to choose one, because I'm sure you have plenty, what would be the one area that you feel that you're most expert in?
Sales and go-to-market strategy. That's my true passion. Everything else I can do stems from that, but it's helping companies figure out who their customers are, what those customers' buying cycles are, and frankly, maybe where they're not getting the greatest return on their investment in their sales orgs.
Nice, nice. Well, then you should really work more with SMEs because I'm also a small business. We create products and solutions and services, and we see a market opportunity immediately, a new offer or a new product. While in the corporate world, things are quite slow, and what we have to take concern about this and have into consideration that. So yeah, actually, that case you made the right choice, Tim. I mean, switching to helping the SME world. But also, the sales and go-to-market strategy is quite challenging because you are working in 21st century. I mean, in 1950s, I'm sure it was really easy. You figure out the product and that's it. But now everything is turbulent. I mean, things change. We have the COVID that plays. Now, by the way, in Macedonia, started escalating. So probably we're going to go on lockdown again in a week or earlier.
Wow.
So trying to innovate, to create these new products, and also the environment is getting hotter. Everything is mad at this stage, and I find it really challenging to still be able to create, and we do it as well. But I wanted to see what is your approach here?
So my approach is get your foundations down, whether you call it a minimum viable product or whether it's an evolution on an existing product or service, and get it out in the market and find out what people like and what they don't like and what they really want. And you talk about the SMEs. One of the things I run into is that people keep chasing an idea without validating its market acceptability, right? Or they talk to their 5 friends and their friends all tell them it's great. It's like asking your grandmother. Go talk to somebody who doesn't love you and get a real opinion.
Yeah, there was a thing, I've read it somewhere. Validation on your business idea is only by the people who swipe their credit cards. Yes. Nobody else.
Yeah.
If they swipe their credit card, they vote by that, just saying that is a good idea. I'm willing to put my money on it, rather than, that's a really nice idea. You should pursue it, or no, it's not going to work.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Well, when it comes to the MVP, I mean, I'm sure that a lot of entrepreneurs, and I had that problems at the beginning, is that, yeah, we want things to be perfect when we get it out on the market. I mean, it's my name on it, and I wanted to make it like top of the line. So how are you actually figuring how to, because yeah, from the one end, you have the product that you consider to go to the market, but you also need to work with the entrepreneur or with the business owner who's actually, working on the mindset a lot.
Yeah. So part of that is having the conversation about where the product's supposed to fit. And I'll use Google as an example. Google was not supposed to be what we all know them for. That was an evolution of their business, right? Taking the metadata and becoming a search company driven by advertising revenues was not what they started out to be. And if you look, most big companies actually aren't what they started as. They've grown into what they've become. And so one thing I watch when I work with founders is they're so set on, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to do it. And the reality is there might be a dozen adjacent opportunities that you can pivot just a little bit, change the conversation, work on the messaging, and you have a whole new customer spectrum. And by the way, those might be the ones that really make you take off.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. As an entrepreneur, you really need the flexibility. But Tim, how did you actually become an expert into the sales and the go-to-market strategy? I mean, is it something that you can learn, or you inherited like a supernatural skill?
So no, it's a learned skill, right? And some people have a natural affinity for things. Sure, I wanted to be a musician, right? And as a child and as a teenager, and I learned music to a pretty high level, but I was never world class. I never had the talent for that, right? Business, I don't know that I had any innate talent, but as you do it, you learn it, and there's the old phrase, fail fast, fail forward. And what I did is I just put myself in situations and just I take on more and more and more and get a broader range of experience. And 30 years later, you understand it. The other thing is I've watched all the things along my career, my corporate career. I'd watch small vendors and small technologies come in, and I'd watch them fail or not be successful in selling and disappear. And you'd look and go, why didn't they create the market demand? They were, and all of the things that went with that. Sometimes it was the solution itself. A lot of times it was the sales and marketing execution.
Nice, nice. So you had like a third party view of what was going on, and what were the mistakes that were made actually in their
Yeah.
businesses, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They'd come in, they do a presentation, right? It's like a marketing message that misses. Everybody would sit there, shake their heads, eat their free lunch, and leave and not do anything.
Nice. Yeah, but I was also wondering, I mean, yeah, sales and marketing is like creativity, but processes and systems on how to get stuff out there. But on the other hand, the other part of the brain, the tech part, and I know that you're also a strong tech person. Like, so how do you balance those two? Because you have a creative guy, or you have a, I don't know, geeky guy like in front of a computer and stuff.
Yeah.
And those are really two different characters, even.
They are, and part of it is getting the geek and the creative to talk, right?
Nice. So don't get, what if they got into an argument?
But that happens a lot, and sometimes that can be productive, actually, right? And I'll give you a great example. For a long time, there was a marketing department that I worked with that their measurement of success was how many people showed up to an event or how many people opened an email.
Yeah.
The sales and the technical group were based on how many people chose to buy that technology and how they engaged. The goals were completely misaligned. Hey, I can get you to come to my show or come to my booth or read my email, but if I don't get you to take that next action, it's really not successful for the company. So getting them to talk and align those goals is a big thing. The other thing is being open to outside perspectives. All right. One of the things that I watch companies do, you talk about aligning them, is I watch them talk in their own nomenclature. They don't use the words their customers use. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, you go out, you go to sell, and you're using words that sound fantastic and represent what you do, and your customer is hearing them either differently or not truly understanding what they do because you're not talking about them.
Yeah, I think it was called tech bubble, or something like there was a saying like that, and you need to actually translate for people to understand it. Because yeah, I use that a lot now with the book that I was 30 days since publishing. The editor from UK got back with 8,000 edits, and like, I don't understand this acronym, I don't understand what is this, I don't understand what's that. I'm like, okay, even the beta reader said that. So like, okay, try to make it more human, try to make it more understandable. And yeah, I cut myself in that area, that sometimes you just talk with like MVP and throwing keywords, and people are like assuming that they will understand.
Yeah.
Okay, no, but that's really good point, Tim. And I was curious. So, as you're working with a lot of tech companies, as you, so within the SME, you specialize with the more tech companies with artificial intelligence, and company that can create MVP. And your goal is to get as early as possible feedback. And this really reminds me of the agile project management style. I mean, uh, a lot of software companies are preaching, don't go with the waterfall already, let's transit to the agile. And what are the benefits? I mean, I know there could be a lot, but how do you see it actually?
So, so two initial benefits are time to positive cash flow can accelerate by getting to market, right? And getting paying customers. The other thing that it can do is it can change your development cycles. So instead of developing, you can do a, to your point, agile, or you can do a feature release schedule that might be completely different than you would have come back with without real customer feedback. Or you might be able to do, you talk about an evolution, you might be able to do patches and minor additions that existing customers will love, but will drive additional net new customers into your portfolio, sooner because you've got that feedback.
Yeah, and I think that feedback is what keeps company afloat, because based on that feedback, you can innovate, you can create new products, or you can tweak your existing. But honestly, I don't know other way, because you create a product and you start serving clients, and then all of them are saying, I wish there was this as well. So there you go, you have an upsell. Well, for additional money, we can do that as well at the end of the day. So it's really just listening to them and try to please them, give them what they want.
Yeah. And understanding where your shortcomings are too, right? That's part of selling, is understanding where your weaknesses are against your competition, against market perception.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm thinking we have done like feature comparison matrix. Like, well, if all the competitors have it, but you don't have it, man, customer will be expecting it. Like everybody have it, so you should have it as well. And the USP was when nobody has it, only you have it. Then it's like, well, you need to do a lot of marketing on that feature, because you know that nobody has it actually.
Yeah, yeah. And telecom companies are a great example of people who, the old school PBX manufacturers that made the big systems that run huge companies and universities and healthcare systems, they would add features that nobody would really use. So I have 1,100 features and you only have 1,000. Meanwhile, everybody only uses 12.
Wow, that's feature stacking, like bundling. Exactly. I'll put a lot of stuff, but like I needed only one this. No worries, there are 1,000 more additional features just for you.
Yep, that's right. Just in case.
Wow, nice team. I actually enjoyed this conversation, and I'm thinking, because I ask every guest that we have here is like about the one single lesson, and we usually even put some emphasis is like, what do you want to be remembered for, the one thing that is of course related to your expertise, not about the yoga, don't get me wrong. But in that regards, what's that one thing that you're a strong believer and advocate around?
So I believe that for most businesses in the space I work in, you have to understand what your most important customer opportunities are, right? And where you fit in that. And we've used the term unicorn, and you hear it all the time. It's not about chasing that unicorn, that perfect thing, being that company. It's about understanding what are the top 3 to 5 sales opportunities. Could be individual clients, could be customer market sets, but that are going to drive your business to the next level of growth.
I see. So your goal is not to chase the unicorn in terms of like something that does not exist, or something that it's too hard to achieve. Maybe there are like unicorns, I'm not sure.
Or both, right? Yeah. One of the things I often do when I come in business to business companies is I sit down and look and say, show me your top 5 opportunities, or show me your top 3 opportunities. If say you had a sales force of 30 people, show me your top 3 people's top 3 opportunities, and let's figure out how to go win those. Don't worry about everything else.
Nice. Actually, you're also talking about focus.
Yes.
Because it's not like try to get 50. Okay, you're talking opportunities, we're calling market segments or verticals, but at the end of the day, it's like you can spread yourself so much thin. And also, when you have focus, you know who you're talking to, you can adjust your marketing effort in order to target that particular group. And of course, you don't want to target just random 3 verticals or opportunities. You're trying to see the top 3 or top 5, you said, that have the biggest revenue potential, to put it that way.
Yeah. That's strategic to you in your business, right? Whether it's revenue potential or whether it's an essential win to penetrate a new market or a new customer type.
I see. No, but that's really good, Tim. It made me think now. You opened me my headaches. Now I need to think about this and how I can actually apply this in BizB because, yeah, at the end of the day, with the focus before last year, a confession, we were generalists. As a business consulting, we were doing market research, business planning, product sourcing, and everything. Last year, we said, you know what? We cannot even keep the resources to serve all those different types of services. So we said, okay, we specialize in B2B lead generation. Let's take everything out from our website. Let's become experts in B2B lead generation. And let's even focus on high ticket service providers, even in particular consultants, marketing agencies, and software companies. And then surround ourselves with them. I mean, start looking for their feedback, what kind of needs they have, what kind of needs they don't have. And you're spot on. Based on that feedback, we've realized that with the lead generation, they were like, well, we need some visibility, and voila, we've created content creation services. So we're saying, well, with our lead generation, we can also create content now. And it's not like I locked myself in a laboratory and started scratching, figuring mad science, but it was like just talking with people. And like when 8 out of 10 people say, you know what, this outreach and lead generation is perfect, but how should they start seeing me more often? And we're like, well, 8 out of 10, that is actually a strong need. Let's see how we can actually satisfy that need. And that's how we actually created the content creation services.
Yeah, right. And that's being an entrepreneur at its heart. Hey, wait, there's a customer, there's 8 out of 10 customers want this. How do I do that for them?
Yeah, that's an opportunity. Well, that sounds interesting. I actually should think a bit more about that and how we can utilize it in BizB. But, you know, maybe that's the curse of the small businesses. We always have limited resources, so you cannot launch 10 different products. But maybe that's even a blessing in disguise because you need to prioritize. So if you cannot chase 10 different products or services, you need to focus on 1 and 2. And there you go. You need to prioritize which are the best ones.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Nice. I haven't considered it like that, Tim. And I was also curious. I mean, you are also a consultant, a coach, a mentor. What are the future plans with you?
So I've taken on more contract executive work than I ever planned to, and I'm having a good time, being the sales leader for a couple of early stage companies and being a contracted CEO for a 5-year-old company. My personal coaching business has taken a turn I didn't expect. And that is, I really expected all of my clientele to come from those SME business owners. And what I'm finding is my coaching business and my mentoring business is much more high performing individuals inside of larger corporations. So the company may be sponsoring them or they may not, but that's the one thing that surprised me. And I think you'll see me move to some more group coaching. And the other thing I'm seeing is there's a lot of CEO mentoring out there, but there's still some niches that aren't well served, because being a CEO or a founder in a tech company is different than being a CEO in a different industry. So I think you'll see me early next year launch a CEO program.
Wow. Nice. So you're moving from one to one to many, the group coaching aspect.
Yeah. We started trialing it back in February, and it's worked really, really well. And we've seen clients get better results.
But Tim, that's exactly, you're doing what you're preaching. You're getting the feedback. You had a plan. I'm going to target the SMEs. And then you start it, and then you're actually getting the feedback. And like, wait a minute, these are not SMEs that I'm talking to. So actually, based on the feedback from the customer, you're saying, well, this is actually evolving into something else.
Yeah, and I put my prices up. That's the beauty. The whole way through, as we went up market, we said, no, we used to charge this for it. Now we'll charge that. And the prices have gone up. And frankly, it's almost like a validation that you're decent, right? Or good at what you do, because people are like, oh, that's okay. The other thing is by understanding the different client segment, my sales cycle has changed. It's actually shortened. As I went upstream, the amount of money I'm asking for may be greater, but as a percentage of their own money or their discretionary budget or what have you, it's actually much less. And so that's made it easier to close business.
Yeah, money is always relative depending who are you talking to. For someone $50 is a lot for someone. 5 million is just something that they can afford it. So it is really relative. But since you are switching your target audience, you know that they can actually afford it.
Yeah, a great example is we had a client that invested a little over $100,000 with us for a couple of things, but they've sold close to $15 million in incremental revenue.
Wow.
It's
That's
a
an ROI. Nice.
That's an ROI. Yeah.
Tim, when you build a group coaching, hit me up. I would love to beta test it at least to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
See how it is. And of course, for everybody that are actually listening to the podcast, I mean, if you're interested in what was it from 100,000 to 50 million, that's like a good return of investment. It's like 50K or 500K. I cannot do the calculations on my head. But on that topic, Tim, where can people find you? I mean, how, if I want to get in touch with you, where should I look for you?
Sure. So you can find me at my own website and fill out the contact me form, and I'm happy to have a conversation with anybody. It's just timkubiak.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn. I'm usually, my avatar is me in a purple bow tie and these glasses, so you can't miss me. There are 16 other Tim Kubiaks in the United States, but if you take a look, I'm the only one in a bow tie.
Wow, you should put Tim Kubiak in brackets, the only one. So when you're talking, which one is like the one and only?
Yeah. And there are two others that are executives in different segments, one in transportation and one in finance. So sometimes it is funny when people call me and try and sell me stuff.
Well, I hope people don't come and say, take my money. I want to be your client. Oh, but I thought the wrong team.
Yeah, fortunately, we're in different enough businesses that once you start talking, it becomes clear quick.
Yeah, I see. Well, Tim, I wanted to thank you very much. I'm actually taking notes as we discuss. So I really wanted to sum up what I've learned. I mean, personally, I'm looking at, as an SME, building the MVP and get it out on the market is really the key thing here, because the faster you get it out, the benefits is the faster you get the positive cash flow, and you're changing the development cycle based on the feedback. And that is, I think, is the two key things here. One is the really good feedback, the feedback that you get as early as possible. And the other one was the focus, because the moment you get customer opportunities and top 3 to 5, rather than chasing the unicorn, you actually have not focus just on services, but focus on your time, focus on your resources, focus on everything. And then you can better serve your clients. And as you said, even reducing the sales cycle, even tailoring the solution to that particular segment gives some extra values when you're compared against your competitors. You're like, well, I actually specialize in your industry, so I'm really special to that. So actually, that was my key takeaway, because it's by my habit to take notes. So I really appreciated coming on this episode. Thank you very much. And that would be actually all.
Thank you for having me. I've had a great time talking with you as always.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, Tim. Have a great day.
You too.